God, can I just, I want to be real clear, and I'm actually going to put this on the podcast. So, hello, we're shooting the shit. And then we can do like a little, an intro. So you get to see behind the curtain, if you will. Can I just tell you, I do not trust white women as far as I can throw their little narrow asses. Oh, Lord Jesus. And the reason why, well, there's a bunch of reasons. But if I ever start to feel guilty or bad, or like I'm a bad woman because I don't just inherently put my faith in these bitches, all I gotta do is wait until a white Republican woman does something halfway fucking decent, and these white liberal women will fucking remind me why I don't fuck with them. They are licking Liz Cheney's entire ass because that's what white people do. And black women are like, you see, this is why we can't trust you heifers.
53%.
Right. And I have one in particular in my face right now talking about, y'all need to stop this racial shit. I swear to God, white people are only this bold because I couldn't backhand her in her fucking mouth after she said that shit. They're only that bold online. I know for a fact, if a white woman said that shit to me in public, in person, I'm going to jail. I'm catching a charge. Donnie, you better grab me quick, because if you ain't quick enough, I'm going to jail. Oh
it's
my God.
Like,
and I'm like, and then finally I told her, I said, look, you need to go find you a white person that you trust, that knows better, and listen to them. So they can explain to you why your entire presence in this conversation has been insulting and inappropriate. Because we're tired of trying to explain it to you. This bitch wrote back and said, well, that goes both ways. I was like, lady, you don't even know how lucky you are that this is online, because I would have a cone in your fucking ass. Oh my God.
Trying to both sides of the conversation.
Yes. They're lovely people on both sides.
Y'all seen that video, right, where it starts out with like an argument outside of somewhere. I'm not sure if it's a restaurant or something. And then it's a white man and a black woman, and like he hits her, and then she's like,
Wait.
She knocks his ass out.
Wait, if you don't find that video for me.
Let me see. It should be easy to find. But yeah, I mean, and then they try to hold her back, and she's like, "Oh, I'm tired of this shit."
There was one I saw. So people were like, this was Spirit Airlines, and I don't know if they were trying to be funny or if this was really Spirit Airlines. But last week it was this black man and in the airport, and he clearly did work there. Like, I don't recognize like what their uniforms would be, and it seemed like he wasn't like a flight attendant, or like he worked in the airport, like at, the check-in desk or something. And there was this white woman who was irate about something, and when the video started, they're already in each other's faces, and he's just basically trying to reiterate whatever the fuck it is he was already telling her, like, oh no, I'm sorry, you can't do that or whatever. And she was just going off, and she started calling him all kinds of F words and N words. And people at one point were like, one guy tried to get between them, and then when the guy got between them, she waited until that happened, right? So there was like a buffer, and she swung around that guy and hit him in the face. Honey, when I tell you this black man was not having it, and he pushed the guy away, and I feel like he tackled her because she tried to run. And then like people got between him. And you ever see The Wiz? The Black Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the lion?
Directed by Sidney Lumet.
Do you remember the lion though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who played the lion? I'm trying to remember. Who was the singer? Oh God, I gotta look it up. But anyway, it was kind of like that, where he was just like, "Get off of me!" He just was like, you know, like when somebody tries to like calm you down to not fight. He didn't even want those people touching him. He was like, "No, y'all back the fuck up off me because she done put her hands on me." He really wanted to beat this woman's ass, and I gotta say, as a woman, I was not mad at her. I was like, "Look." And then another black guy jumped in and was like ready to fight him, and he was like, "I'm not gonna let you fight a woman. I'm not gonna let you fight a woman. You try that shit with me. You try that shit with me." And I'm like, brother.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is not the cape to put on. This is not the time. I'm not gonna let you fight a woman. Meanwhile, you know, the white woman sitting over there like, "Thanks, nigger." Anyway,
it was Ted Ross played the lion.
when did he die?
It was Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Russell played
The Tin Man. Yeah, that I knew.
That's who I was thinking of.
Oh no, I knew it wasn't. I know all the cast except that one. I could not think of his name, but I just knew he had an amazing voice, and I think he passed away. I'm trying to like remember. Yeah, that's him. Yes, because I was like, I feel like he was a face that I knew outside of the makeup, but I don't know like what I knew him for beyond The Wiz. But I just remember him being somebody. Oh, okay, he was in a lot of stuff. Arthur 2 on the Rocks. Do you remember that?
I do.
No.
You don't remember the Arthur movies?
I remember the first one. I don't remember the second one. I didn't realize there was a sequel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Dudley Moore, right?
Yep.
I was about to say, did he die?
I believe so.
Oh yeah.
I don't really remember what he looks like. In my head, I keep seeing Martin Short. I honestly...
You're not far off.
I honestly don't remember what Dudley Moore looks like. I keep seeing Martin Short. Oh, yeah. Okay, I was not far off. He also died in 2002, which is when Ted Ross died. 1935. Oh, yeah. I'd be amazed if he was still around. Wow. Anyway, we started the podcast off with racism and dead celebrities. And so how about we actually really do this? Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still looking for that video.
Oh, yes. Please link me to that shit as soon as you find it. Okay, so we're going to start now. Hey, guys. Welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
Nah, we got to do it again. And I'm not even cutting it out. Because you, like...
Why?
Because you, like... What happened?
It distorted.
It distorted. You're like, I'm John.
Oh. Just probably because I'm looking for this fucking video.
Are you ready now?
So my internet's like, no. Okay,
Your internet's like, he's not ready. Okay.
no.
Kaylee, come get your dog. Hey guys, welcome to Project... Nope, that's not right. This whole podcast is going to be terrible. I can tell her.
Ah, who's fucking up now, huh?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Take 3. Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
I wasn't sure if he knew that. I thought maybe he forgot.
There's a delay.
There was a long delay.
Oh, there's a delay. Like, for me, it wasn't a delay at all.
Yeah.
I was like, what are y'all talking about?
Oh my God. We are here to talk about Paper Girls. We're going to be talking about season 1, episodes 6 and 7. And of course, I am unprepared. Don't even have my notes open. We are going to shoot the shit just really quickly. I know that was kind of shooting the shit before we started. But, Tony, tell me the episode names.
Oh, shit.
I know Burping Trash Hole is episode 7. I don't remember episode 6. I didn't write it.
6 is Matinee.
Yeah.
Matinee, okay. So we are going to talk about those episodes in depth in a moment. But I do want to say that I read the comic book series completely, all 30 issues. And it is so fucking different, you guys, that I don't even know what the fuck. Like, it's so different. What I find most interesting is that this was made. Like, it would, like, somebody read the 30 issues and said, we want to make this into a TV show, but not like this. Like, that worked. Like, that somebody saw, like, how, you know what I mean? Like, I really want to know how that happened. Like, did Brian K. Vaughan just get like a production deal, and then and they were like, sure, we'll do Paper Girls, and he was like, okay, but we got to change it a bit, or was that did they just figure it didn't translate? Because I will say, so in talking about what's different, I wanted to do it in a way that's obviously that's not spoilery at all, honestly. And because I know we've had some discussion about whether or not this felt like something that was just like a one and done thing, or did they plan to come back? And like I said, I was with just 30 issues, which is not a long run for a series, right? I don't think. I just couldn't figure out like how they could stretch that to more than one season. But again, I hadn't finished it, so I wasn't sure what the story was. Like, maybe they could just like flesh it out and, you know. But now that I finished, you guys, they're dinosaurs. They're fucking dinosaurs in the comic book.
Well, they mention them here, but that's it.
But no. But like, how did I forget that the old watch rode up on dinosaurs, like flying dinosaurs, when they come through the thing? But here, they're just like walking, right? Or we saw them in that mech thing.
Right.
So they're dinosaurs. The opening, remember I said that I felt like so much happened in the first episode that kind of covered several issues. That, yeah, definitely that. There's a lot of, running around that morning, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Who are these guys that took my radio? What's this? Why does the sky look like that? All of that. Like, that was several issues. And when they time traveled, they just kind of just happened to run into adult Erin on her way to work. So that was different. It wasn't like going to the house type thing. All of this, and I told you guys this, I distinctly remember this, all of this stuff with Mac and her brother and KJ and her family, and pretty much the way they've been able to like view their lives without really interacting in their lives doesn't happen in the comic books. In the comic books, it's just more, oh shit, you're adult me. Let me tell you about this crazy thing that happened and let's figure this out. Like, they're immediately, it's none of this like, this is better, I will say. The bonding between Mac and her adult brother and KJ seeing that she's, living as a lesbian and happy and all that stuff. Like, this is way better than what the comic books did. And then I think just like plot-wise, this is tighter, right? Like, I feel like when I was reading the comic book, there was several times where I was just like, what? Like, I didn't remember it being as, I don't want to say convoluted. It's just a lot. There's a lot of time travel. There's like back to the what do we call it? Prehistoric? What is the dinosaur time called? Is it prehistoric? No.
Prehistoric era.
No, there's a better name.
Paleozoic?
Paleozoic. Isn't that right?
I don't
The Jurassic era.
I'm sure. Jurassic. There are different names for eras, but prehistoria, I guess, is... Okay.
Well, that time. That there's like a trip there, then there's trips into the far, far future, and then, of course, there's like the 1999, the 2009, all of that. So it's just different. And I have to say, I love the comic book series, and as I was rereading it, I remembered, why I loved it. Like, it's really the girls. I honestly don't know that the story in the comic book moves me as much as what they're doing with the TV show. the one thing that is consistent is that these are just, I personally think, 4 great characters, and I'm really happy that they cast the girls that they did, because I feel like they're really doing it justice. It is honestly, to me, the best part of the book series is Brian K. Vaughan's writing and his ability to just write, I think, just great dialogue, and the diversity of it. I've always loved reading his stuff because it's just, he just doesn't do like, white guys. You know what I mean? Like the lead white guy, It's always just vastly diverse in terms of race and queer, and it's just, he's just always done that, and I love his stuff for that. But again, I know it's gonna sound like an insult, but I'm just so blown away that those 30 issues, now that I've completed it, that they were like, yeah, let's make a TV show, but not do what they did in the comic books. It's so wild to me. So, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to tell you guys that I finally finished, and it's very, very different. Very, 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 very different. And I guess I'll wait. I don't know what you guys, has anybody heard anything about how well this show is doing, and whether or not it may be a multi-season thing, or
other than when it first dropped, it had decent reviews, but I haven't heard anything since. It's kind of like, and I don't know if that's just because it's a streaming show and they drop everything all at once.
Right.
That you only hear about it that first weekend, and then
when people are binging, and then it's like people like us who are kind of taking it slower.
And then the next week they've already moved on to the next show type of thing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
There was one other thing I was going to say about that. Oh, well, I am waiting until we watch the next episode, the final episode, before I go reading about stuff. Like, I haven't read interviews or anything like that. So I'm curious, maybe that stuff is already out there. You know what I mean? Like, maybe other people are already aware that this was a limited series. I don't know. I've been purposely avoiding stuff.
I mean, the differences that you talk about, like, it does sound like the way they changed it was in a way that is going to allow it to be more than one season.
Yeah. And
it
honestly
sounds like they're establishing a baseline of these characters that can move forward.
I feel like, and I don't want to, like, oh my God, why is that dog in there losing his mind? Do you hear my dog?
Yeah. A little bit.
So, all right, I'm going to give it another few minutes. If he doesn't calm down, I'm going to tell her to let him to come out here. But I don't understand why he can't just, like, be in there with her and be happy. He has toys. She's in there with him. Why does he wants to be out here and just see what we're doing and bark while we're doing it. It's like having another baby, John. Do you hear him? Do you hear him? Anyway.
It's a baby that doesn't grow up.
No, never. So one thing though, when we were watching one of these episodes, I had tweeted and I was like, why don't they have Ali Wong in mom jeans in 1999? Did we bring those back and I forgot or something? And then the show's Twitter account responded and said, she's Gen X. It's mom jeans never went out of style. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
You're not wrong.
But I will say that one thing that is different, and is something we're going to talk about in talking about these two episodes, is that the Tiffany thing, I had misremembered when we had talked about this earlier, and we talked about like what it might be like for them to, when they meet their adult selves, right? After Erin, right? And I had remembered Tiffany's adult self, it being kind of negative. And for some reason, I thought she was a stripper, which isn't a negative thing, but I did think, I'm going to be really fucking shitty if they've established these four girls and then you have this black girl who is smart and on track to become wants to be an astronaut or an engineer and go to MIT and all this stuff. And then like her story is, you know, she's just out there on the pole. Like none of that stuff came. I was, but no, it's not. But it's not where I kind of like what. Okay, I got to be careful because I don't want to offend people who may dress like this. But in the comic books, here she was. Where was she when they met her?
At the club.
At a club, right? Like a rave.
She's a DJ.
DJ. Okay.
Like a nightclub. She's a what'd she call herself? Like a music producer or something like that.
Okay.
Like a music something. Yeah,
so
she said something.
And here she has like light blue braids, right? I think. So in the comic book, it's way more extreme, and she has like she's wearing like black lipstick, and she has like lip to ear piercings, and she's married to like this Marilyn Manson looking guy, and it's just
so goth, real heavy
very goth. Yeah. And young Tiff was like, "What the fuck?" Well, because she meets the husband first, and she's like, "Who the hell are you?" She's like, "I'm Tiffany's husband." It's like, "Excuse me." So I don't know why in my memory I was just like I thought she became a stripper. I was like, I wonder if the show is gonna stick with that, but no, I was wrong, and they kind of did that here, except her boyfriend isn't Marilyn Manson. He's more like Ethan Embry. No, more like what's that guy? Who's that guy? Oh, was it? No. Yeah, Ethan Embry. Wasn't you know what I'm talking about? Like there was a time where he and Seth Green played all the same type of roles.
Yeah.
Like kind of slacker,
hands.
skateboarding. Yeah. It was like Ethan Embry or Seth Green. Those were the
Stoner.
two. Yeah. So anyway, that said, what did you guys think of these 2 episodes? John, do you want to go first?
Sure, I really liked them. I'm really enjoying the show. I found that the show is, I don't know, like I think we talked about it last time, right? Like it has like sentimental moments that like I'm a sucker for. Like I think my favorite moment of these 2 episodes was probably when KJ hugs Mac after Mac tells her the truth about the cancer.
Yeah.
I think that was probably like my favorite moment of 2 episodes, just because like it was just very nice and again sentimental and saccharine, that kind of shit. I'm just a sucker for that, and yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I like that because like I know that like the idea of the show seems to be that you don't know who you're going to be when you grow up. You think you're going to know.
Yeah.
You think you have an idea of what you want, but then you learn as you get older that things change, et cetera, et cetera. So I like that the way that they did have Tiffany do that wasn't, stereotypical shit. And it was just like, you don't know what you want. Like you think you do and you just don't.
My dad used to tell me all the time when I was younger, like their age and obviously getting older, that like the things that you think are really important to you now probably won't be a few years from now, including like the people. And that was just more in because of like when you're out there doing things because your friends are doing it, or not doing things you're supposed to do so you could be with your friends, so he was trying to teach me that lesson of, like 5 years from now you're going to regret that you didn't do this, for people you don't even know anymore. That type of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's so I think it's a well-made show. It's a well-told story in that if I were younger, like if I were like a teenager maybe, or obviously if I were like 12 and I were watching this, I'd be like, yeah, young Tiffany has it all figured out. Like why isn't older Tiffany listening to her?
Right.
But now my age, I'm like, man, that young Tiffany needs to learn something from her older self.
I feel like I would say I've only watched these episodes once, and we watched them last weekend. And so a lot of me talking about this is going to be from my very old brain that also eats edibles, and I'm going to be going from my notes. But I feel like there was a part where she was basically telling her, honey, you do not know how these white folks are.
Yeah, at
that's-
MIT.
Yeah,
MIT
at MIT,
stuff.
right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, oh, sis, this is so fucking real, though. It is so fucking real.
Yeah.
Like,
She was
young
like,
Tiff
"Oh yeah,
doesn't-
that works for Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, but it didn't work for me." And I was
Right.
like, "Yeah, I understand that. I understand what you're saying there."
Exactly. And that's the kind of shit you don't get when you're 12. Especially when you are, as we can see here, like even of the 4 friends, 2 of them are white, right? And she grew up in Ohio, where there's a lot of white folks. And we find out that these girls all go to, with the exception of Matt. The other 3 go to private school, right?
Yeah.
You know what? In the comic book, one of the like later issues, KJ talks about she goes to Buttonwood Academy, and that's the name of the school that in the show, Mac's older brother, his daughters go there. Remember? And he was like, "Oh, and we'll get you enrolled in Buttonwood." So when that came up, I was like, "Oh,
that makes sense."
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, that's basically it. Because like most of these 2 episodes were about Tiffany and focused on her because obviously we're in 1999 with her older self. So yeah, I like that. I really like the stuff with KJ and then Mac and the 2 of them together, and like they're really fucking up Alice's brain. She sees her in the graveyard and he's like,
poor Alice.
That's, you gotta be fucked up. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the way that they're telling the story, again, I think it's really well told from where like you could watch it as a younger person or an older person and have a different perspective on who you think is right in the different conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like it.
What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like these girls, it's about these girls. Like you got all this futuristic science fiction stuff happening, but it's not really. We don't know much about it. Like they'll just give you a couple of hints here and there, but we have no fucking clue about this other entity that's out there trying to stop them or anything like that. And even in these 2 episodes, we really didn't see anything. But it's all about these girls being forced to grow up fast in just a few days by learning about their futures and stuff like that. Of like, you mentioned like these 2 episodes focus heavy on Tiffany, but all of them are touched on. Like all of them, even Aaron goes back to, like, we spend a lot of time with older Aaron, but then even in these episodes, it goes back to Aaron realizing like she still believes like her sister was an asshole. But then you go and you see them interacting, her sister and her mother interacting, like, well, that relationship wasn't broken like her older self tells her to. It was, and stuff like that. So they're realizing all this stuff that are just basically forced to grow up faster than a normal child. So that's the best part of the show. It's just their character development.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they kind of confirmed that older Tiffany also doesn't remember any of these other girls.
Well,
right?
no, I thought she said no. See,
she should, because she was a paper girl.
Well,
with
no.
But that's
see,
what I mean.
that's
Like,
the thing.
I felt like she should, but she didn't seem to. She
But see,
seemed
that's
she's
the
like
thing.
2 of your friends here, and like it just seemed like the way she was interacting with them was not, oh, I remember you from when I was a kid. It was, you're someone who's with younger me right now.
See,
That's what it seemed like to me.
I took that different, especially because when I went back and I rewatched the first few episodes with adult Aaron, and it feels less that they don't know, like, that they don't remember them because they don't remember this day, and like that was why, but more that, how can I say this? The only reason they're close is because of what happened, right?
Right. So they weren't.
And
they
so-
knew each other, but they weren't friends with each other. They were just, hey, this is a girl.
Right,
that just
and they
delivers
just
paper on the
kind of
next
like,
street.
right, went off. And so the kind of memory wiping that I think what they're setting up is going to happen, because again, like you said, adult era, is less that they don't remember them at all. Just that they remember Hell Night, but that part of it, like, they were wiped from the trouble that happened. And then after that, they just kind of went their separate ways. So it's not like I don't know who they are at all. It's kind of like how I might be. Well, it would be way worse because I'm 48 now, but let's say 20 years ago when I was 28, if someone was like, do you remember that girl, that time we went to Great Adventure, and you know what I mean? It'll be like, I kind of maybe remember her.
Right.
So I think that's what it was. Something that she said that it wasn't like, because then I think like later she talked about the job and like why she stopped doing it. Older Tiffany. And then I think adult Erin said something like, you remember, like, we quit the next day.
She quit
and
the
these
next
girls
day,
don't
yeah.
even know your name. Right. So I think
that's,
it's like,
that's kind of what I meant.
yeah,
that's
like
kind of
she
what I
know,
meant,
like
was
they
that don't
met,
really-
they
yeah.
knew each other, but like everything from that day is different because they don't know that they had that bonding experience with the time travel stuff because they're going to wipe that from their memories. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, and it's a little distinction. I think that's just a little different than, you know what I mean?
And it's just fucked up.
That is very fucked
It's
up.
just so fucked up to think about. Just like they show, because like at one point I was like, oh, like because like she's learning about being adopted, and you know, and it's like I was like, that's information that could absolutely change the projection, like the projection,
Yes.
the trajectory of her life.
Yeah.
Because she's learning that at a different time.
Exactly.
And then the same thing with like older Tiffany learning that she has an institute.
Yeah.
And it's like, that just seems like a thing that you shouldn't learn because
Right.
it could absolutely change what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So I was just like, does anyone remember anything about this? And I don't think anyone is ever going to remember anything that happens on this after the end of it.
She, in the comic book, Tiffany, that is different. In the comic book, she knows that she's adopted, like, she's always known, and her her mom is black and her dad is white. And there's this whole thing with, there's these things that they don't have in the show, but there were these, like, things that they would come across that they would touch, and when they touched them, they would have like these weird visions. And for Tiffany, it was getting this Atari and playing this game, and like the panels, it's kind of depressing because I feel like if you played video games, if you're a gamer, you've definitely been here, where you're just playing a game all day, all the time, trying to get to a certain level or beat a certain level or whatever. And it was kind of like a Space Invaders type game. And so there's this, like, it's just pages of her, and you see her playing it all the time, to the point where her eyes are like, you know what I mean, and glassed over. And when she comes out of it, she says something like, why did I waste so much time on that? Like, all this time of my life that I spent playing that game. And the other girls were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because, of course, they didn't touch whatever it was she touched. So, yeah. All right. Well, are you ready to talk about the specifics, Donnie?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I know John's ready. John's talking. Donnie's just sitting there looking weird. Okay, so...
He touched an Atari.
Right. Okay, so episode 6, we meet Tiff. Tiff is a rave DJ. She's fucking awesome. She's gorgeous. She has a great apartment. I love her.
Yeah, like nothing's wrong with her at all.
Like the one thing I would have said was like, girl, what the fuck? But then with the boyfriend, but she was like, I'm just having fun. I was like, okay, do you, sis?
We're just fucking. Like,
yeah, she was absolutely like, I'm not gonna care about him in 5 years.
5 months.
Right. Why do I have tampon up the nose?
Because that was the whole
they were-
thing. Remember, the last episode ended with her getting her period. So this episode, at the beginning of it, they had to get. Oh no, never mind. Because that was when he punched her in the face. She put
But yeah, but who got a tampon?
Yeah, when
Who got punched in the
KJ
face?
KJ punched Mac in the last episode, and in
Yes.
this episode,
They
his
use
nose
the
starts bleeding.
Yes.
And they
use the
go
tip.
to the bathroom, and there's no toilet paper.
Right.
So Aaron is like,
Yeah.
here's this.
Yes.
She shoves it up Mac's nose.
Yes. So they go to Tiff's place, and they're gonna sleep there for the night, right?
Yeah.
The next morning, KJ is gone, and adult Tiffany had given her some money in case she wanted to get a donut or something, but she ends up going to the movies because of that Stanley Kubrick. Was it Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah, it was a Stanley Kubrick marathon.
Yeah. So she's going to the movie.
2001.
Yeah. So it's decided that the two Tiffs are going to go to Larry's, even
Before
though...
we go to that,
Yes.
did y'all see what adult Tiffany was drinking?
It wasn't a Jolt.
Out of her? No, it was Surge.
Surge, that's what it was.
Which tells you this is absolutely 1999.
Yeah.
I
knew it was
the
the soda that was back to that time, and I just couldn't remember what it was.
What in the fuck are y'all even talking about? Let's search.
It's
Let me
like-
Google this.
It's like pure like sugar and cocaine.
It's no different than Jolt, but it's just Surge was like the citrus version of Jolt.
Surge. So they don't make it anymore?
No.
I think they made it like it was like a one-time thing. They brought it back a few years ago.
Oh,
But yeah.
I was just going to say, because it's like, Surge Soda is back. It's like a whole website.
Yeah, I don't
2022!
Oh
No.
well, there you go. They might be still out there somewhere in the wild. I don't drink soda anymore, so I drink a lot.
See,
of
there's
that
hope
shit
for
in the night.
Choco Taco.
This doesn't look like anything I'd want to drink.
No, it was like radioactive.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, like the ad for it, it's like, it looks like a UFO that's shaped like a pyramid, and it's like beaming up a bottle of the Surge, and the UFO has like tentacle arms coming out of the side of it. It's very Paper Girls, the comic book. So the other girls still don't trust Larry, right? Because of what he did before he died.
Right.
But
Nobody wants to see
Tiff
it.
reasons that he's the only way that they can figure out when the next folding is going to occur.
Right,
so they
because
can maybe
he
get
knows
back
the
home.
cipher to the book.
Right. So the two Tiffs agree to go to his place while the Mac and Aaron stay behind with the boyfriend's there at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When they get to the farm, Larry is surprised to learn that he ain't shit. It's like, wait, are you sure?
No, I'm one of the good guys.
Which makes me, like, I swear, I did not feel like he set them up. Remember I said that then? I was like, he seemed just as confused as they were when they landed. Remember? I was like,
Yes.
what was, because I felt like before he said, oh shit, something's not right. I felt like before that, the moment they landed, he was looking around like, what the fuck? But I could be wrong. Only one
But
episode
that
once.
was when I brought, like, I felt like there was no way they could tell this robot what year to go back to. Like,
Right,
it
right,
was
right.
up to,
that it's
they
probably
had no control. It was
just
if they jump in
programmed
this
to
fold,
99.
it's going to take them to a specific time.
Right.
It's already meant to be.
Yeah, and that's what I think. He I feel like he knew that, and he just didn't tell them that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he was like, "Oh yeah, we could take you to the 88," but no, he knew that they couldn't do that.
But
I don't know.
I think
But,
his
yeah.
his reaction was because this is the first time he ever time traveled.
Is
So
it?
that's how I felt.
Okay.
Like, he knew about these folds, but he never tested them out to see if they actually work.
Larry is new, by the way. He's not in the books at all.
He's not a company.
Neither
Ain't
is.
that how it is?
They just inserted this white man. We did not need this. Anybody asked for this? No, I'm kidding. Mac and Aaron go spy on Aaron's mom. Is it me or is she speaking English?
When she called her, she was speaking English.
Yeah. Well, I mean, which makes sense. I mean,
Right.
It would
And it's
stand
been-
the reason. The
right.
longer you're here, she would get better at English.
But then when they went to the house, the same thing.
Yeah. And they spy on them. The mom having a conversation with Missy, right?
Yep.
And it's just like Aaron was like, "No, you don't understand. Like Missy's just gonna leave soon." And then Missy comes out, and they're all just like so
hugging
so
and
happy
just,
together. And Aaron's like,
she ends up having a fight, right, with Mac.
Yeah, because they just showed it. Mac. They were walking down the street, and Mac was talking. They were talking about their futures and stuff like that. And then this is where Aaron's like, "Well, you're gonna grow up. You're gonna be a veterinarian," because she lied to
right.
She said she's gonna be a veterinarian.
Right. She's gonna be.
Like that.
She's gonna be a doctor too, but for animals.
yeah, this is like, it was such a like. That's one of the things about like a character like Mac, is that she's so unchildlike that like when she has a moment like that where like that's like she wants to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
she cares about horses, and like that was such a very childlike moment for a character that doesn't have many of them.
KJ sees her future girlfriend in the lobby of the movie theater while her adult self is in the bathroom, and she asks her about movies and how she knew that she loved movies.
Yeah, it took her a minute. Movies was a pause.
Yeah.
It was like, how'd you know?
How did you know that you were into girl movies?
And it's just like, oh yeah, when I knew I liked movies.
But like, it's so like, this was just really sweet. I love this whole scene, but it was especially sweet the way she's like, okay, I gotta go.
It's so funny to me. Like, does the girlfriend ever talk to older KJ and be like, "Hey, your cousin was just here.
Your cousin was just in your bedroom for like 15 fucking minutes talking to me, asking me about film school. Oh my god, your cousin from yesterday, the one you didn't know who the fuck I was talking about, she was just here asking me about movies."
And she's like, "You need to stop talking to these strange kids."
So they leave Larry, right? And they go back with the book that they have, right? And they go back to the apartment to try to figure out
because he told them
how to decipher it, right? The two Tiffany's.
Yep.
And it's when they're at the apartment that they have the "you didn't graduate from MIT" fight. She told her she went to MIT. She failed to mention that she dropped out of her sophomore year. Yeah.
And then younger Tiffany is like, "I knew it. I fucking knew it. You piece of shit. I knew it.
You ruined my life."
I'd say that I really enjoy the writing around how they drop in, like when she says, like when he wants to know who, like how to get in touch with them, when Larry does, and younger Tiffany's like, "You don't worry about it," and older Tiffany's like, "We're Tiffany Twilkin. We're in the phone book." And I was like, I liked that she was like weird, you know, like she's weird. And then like later when she's like, when he comes over and he's like, "I'm looking for Tiffany Twilkin," and Aaron's like, "They're not here, or neither of them are here," or whatever she says. And I was like, I like this subtle way that they're talking about like the fact that there are two of them.
So they have the fight about the institute. They have the fight about not graduating from MIT, and adult Tiffany learns about her institute.
Yeah, because she was working on it at that point, which is, I mean, but that also puts her genius.
Well, she was like she had, was she already working on it, or was it just like it was just like a vision that she had?
I thought she was working on it. She was on the computer when she was talking about it. So my thought was, okay, she's working on it, and it's immediately first thing that popped in my head is like a University of Phoenix type of thing where she's building
this.
But she's building a college, or basically something that you could online school. Is basically what she's building, and it's 1999, and this shit's unheard of at that time. Like, so that's like, okay, she's still a genius, and she couldn't fuck with MIT. She's doing her own thing, and if you go back to Bill Gates and all that stuff, they didn't fucking go to MIT. They learned everything they learned from fucking just fucking around in their garages and built computers and stuff like that. So
they didn't have an education.
Right, they don't. They just did it on themselves. So it just kind of put her genius in that.
Yeah, they had just a garage and their bootstraps and an investment from rich relatives. You know.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Didn't have to pay rent at all, ever. Mac and KJ are on the rooftop when Mac tells KJ the truth about what happens to her in the future.
And KJ also mentions here about herself too, right?
She starts to.
Yeah.
But she's like...
She took too long, and then fucking Mac just stole the spotlight.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna die. She's like, wait, what?
I was like, damn it. She almost came out.
But like, she was coming out in that she was like, and I'm attracted to you.
Yeah,
Mac.
specifically. Yeah.
That was what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
I really like the writing in this scene, and because where Mac is like, oh, you think you're gonna grow up, and I just have to grit through this problem time, and then I'm gonna, as soon as I turn 18, I'm out of here, and it's all gonna be worth it. And it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Because I don't get to get
I don't even get there. Yep.
And like I mentioned, like when KJ hugged her, and like it was like, I feel like that's the whole season has been such good character development, and also like not just character development, but relationship development between the characters, where like you have this scene here, like I didn't know if Mac would accept that hug, and the fact that Mac did accept it made it more effective.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, nice. Like, because like she needs it.
Yeah, you can't. There's only but so much. There's only but so many times you can keep having her push people away and not accept it and change the subject. You know what I mean? Like at some point, for the relationship to change, to grow as we know it will, she has to accept the hug.
But I feel like them two, they have the relationship because it goes back to when she was on the motorcycle with her and crying on her shoulder type of thing. Yeah. Like I felt like she can only do that with these two. Like
so let me ask,
these two are closest out of all of them.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think, because the way it's playing, it's like KJ is a lesbian. Or at the very least, she feels, well, I could just go ahead and say it. In the comic book, she's just straight up lesbian, right? At the very least, at this point, when you're 12 and you're like trying to figure stuff out, I don't know if the show is trying to say she's bisexual or whatever, but she's gay, right? And it's interesting that you have this character who clearly this is something that she had been struggling with, or it didn't just start, right? She was I feel like they kind of telegraphed that in the first episode. Mm-hmm. And then you have Mac, who seems to be again, it's a touchy age, right? Because they're 12. So it's both, are you thinking about anybody romantically at that age? And for her character, I would say that it felt like, at the very least, she was not, right? Like, she didn't seem to be interested in that stuff. And even if she had, it definitely felt like she was not fucking around with boys. Like, Mac does not like boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, beyond whether or not she's thinking about being in a romantic relationship with anybody. She's a 12-year-old girl who seems to just really not like boys. Then again, the boys in her neighborhood that we have met so far, I can see why. It seems to be that she is, again, whether or not she's thinking about romantic relationships, at the very least, she's not thinking about boys in that way yet, right? So for these two characters, knowing what we know about KJ and how it seems that she feels about Mac, and then Donnie pointing out that Mac seems to be closest to KJ, they have these moments together. This is the person that she accepted the hug from, the friendship from finally. Do you think she does feel the same way, can feel the same way, or will feel the same way?
I mean, I think she can.
Yeah.
I don't know if she does right
Mhm.
now. Like,
Mhm.
I don't like you mentioned. I don't think they have shown anything about the character in any way that indicates any interest in any romantic
Exactly.
relationship with
Exactly.
anybody.
So
Right.
it's interesting. The reason I brought it up because I just thought I agree. I feel like she's at that point where from what I've seen, I just was like, oh, she's just a kid who hasn't even thought about that yet, right? And
Hmm.
if I had to then guess, like, well, when she started thinking about, like I said, right now, the only thing I feel like I know for a fact is she just don't fuck with these boys in her neighborhood because they're just the worst. She seems to still be at the, ooh, boys are gross phase of her life, which I'm like, sis, hold on to that as long as you can, honestly. But, in the comic books, though, it is very much like not just what we've seen here, where you can see KJ is kind of becoming aware of herself and her feelings, but it's this constant homophobia from Matt in the comic books
Hmm.
that they haven't really done here. As a matter of fact, so the
Well, you shared it. That one screen. You shared that one with me and John.
yeah. I'll get to that in a second. But before that, when we watched like one of the first trailers, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And then there was like another trailer where they showed Max saying the part about my dad said you people own everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember tagging Ryan in the comments. I'm like, are they making Mac a racist? Because I don't remember her being racist. And then I started reading the comic books again. I think either right before debut premiered or whatever. But the comic book begins with, do you remember like those guys were bullying KJ?
Mm-hmm.
And she shows up. And the first introduction to Mac, the splash page, is her there on her bike. Erin and Tiffany are behind her. She has a cigarette hanging out her mouth. And like it's Halloween, right? So she says to one of the guys, nice costume, F word. And I was like, whoa! Like, I completely forgot that was in there. And I saw it and I was like, oh, okay, that's who Mac was. Okay. I forgot Mac is problematic and she just says, she repeats shit. You know, we've already talked about this. But it's like that continuously. And then...
She's like the what is it, the Duchamp character from Stand By Me.
Yes. But then the one that I showed you, the page that I showed you, I remembered the first time I read this laughing so fucking hard, the way it was drawn. And there is no Larry in the comic books, but there is a woman who is aware of what's going on. So it's
supposed to be
basically
like the woman.
Yeah, but she's older. She wears like glasses. She has short hair. It's just so funny to me that Matt took one look at her. It's like, look at this old lesbo. It's like, oh my god. So that's what I showed you. That whole thing was her saying, yeah, I don't know, this lesbian over here, I don't like the way she's looking at Erin and all that stuff. And then KJ has her little confession and then she doesn't even register. Mac is like, yeah, I know, right? The fuck did you just say? And the look on their faces, I love that page so much. But anyway, I was just curious what you guys thought, because that is a difference where KJ is not only having to wrestle with these feelings and stuff in this revelation about herself, but at the same time she constantly has Mac in the background being homophobic, you know. Mm-hmm. and she's the one that she's interested in.
Right, and I think the show has done a good job, like, because like we talked about, I think that they haven't shown Matt to have any interest in any romance at all. But KJ, on the other hand, I feel like seeing her in 1999, the interaction with her and her mom, and the way that her mom is so like forceful about like trying to set her up with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I think she's talking to Laura, I think that's the girlfriend's name, and she says, "Oh yeah, my mom's trying to hook me up with another guy," or something like that. I feel like that kind of seems to, at least to me, hint at like that's probably where her mom has always been. And so KJ has probably been like pushed into like by her mom, like into like roles that her mom's
Yes.
like, you gotta be girly, you gotta
Start
they
dating,
say
they established that. I think the first time we see her is when she's going in the closet and her mom has that dress up there. She's like, this is for your bat mitzvah. And it's like a dress that she would never wear. She's like, what the fuck?
Right,
you know?
exactly, yeah. So I would imagine that's, so KJ that's how she differs from Mac in that way, that she actually is thinking about that kind of stuff because she's being forced to.
So the next folding is going to be in 7 years, and I love how at one point they're pretty much just like, no, this is bullshit, like Erin especially, right? But there's also a part of them that's like, I guess we're just living here for 7 years.
Like, right after they learned that, like, Erin's entire dialogue for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 scenes was just 7 years.
Yes.
She was just sitting there like, 7 years.
And then the next episode, fucking Tiffany watching her valedictorian speech, and Erin's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I can't do this for 7 years. Can't stay here watch you loving yourself for 7 years.
She was just so fixated on the 7 years part. I love the valedictorian scene too. Like, just that's another one of those sentimental things. We're just watching her watch it. It was just like, I like this.
The episode ends with it's raining 1988 on the farm, right?
Yep.
It is a burping trash hole, so that's the name of the next episode, which begins with, again, Tiffany watching her adult self deliver her high school valedictorian speech a couple of times. And Mac and KJ have a fight over whether or not KJ should tell. Mac should tell people about her cancer. Tiff learns she's adopted because older Tiff learned she was adopted. And before that reveal, again, because in the comic book, I feel like Tiffany says it in the first issue. Like, one of the conversations when they're talking about getting to know each other on their bikes and stuff, I just feel like she goes, well, I'm adopted, so blah, blah, blah. So I just completely forgot. It's not something that ever comes up again. And even when you see her parents in the flashback, if they hadn't mentioned that she was adopted, I would just assume she was biracial, right? Because her mom is black and her dad is white. So here in the show, I was just trying to remember, like, what it could be. Like, because I knew that adult Tiffany wasn't saying something. And I felt like she was saying some things, right? Like, talking about what it was really like at MIT. And it was clear she didn't have a good relationship with her mother. And I started to wonder if something happened to her at school. And then I started to wonder if it was like a depression thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because, I imagine, I don't know, when I was 12, if someone told me, oh, you're going to be severely depressed when you're older and need medication, you don't think about that as a 12-year-old, So then I thought it was going to be that. I was like, what happened at school that, but as it comes out, she found out. So, and I don't want to diminish the other stuff. I feel like the adult Tiff was making good points about why she has made the choices that she's made. But you do understand that finding out that you're adopted as an adult or a young adult is pretty traumatizing. Yeah. And that seems to be the big, divide between, I guess, her and her relationship with her mother.
Or Carol,
yeah. The fact that she don't even call her by mom. Oh my God. That's so fucking, like, wow. I get it, though. Like, I'm sure her mom is hurt, but to do that, to have that, to reveal that, and then to have it cause this, divide between the two of you, and then for her to just not call you mom anymore. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like, it feels like a similar thing to like Erin and her sister, where it's like we heard Erin's side of that story, and then we saw that, well, it wasn't actually everything that Erin said it was.
Right.
And it's kind of like this. It's like adult Tiffany, or whatever, however old she was when she found out that she's adopted. She said sophomore year.
Yeah.
In high school, like, It's
No, I thought it was in college.
was it sophomore in college?
Yeah, she dropped out of MIT sophomore year.
Right.
So yeah, I thought maybe that was all the same thing.
Could
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that was. Can you imagine finding out in high school and you still gotta live with her?
I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I mean, it would obviously be traumatizing, and it would obviously be like a hard thing to live with. But like, that's what I mean. Is like, we could probably see their mom, Carol, and she's probably not a terrible person, But it's the way that adult Tiffany is talking about it. It sounds like she's making her out to be like a monster.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's how she feels.
Yeah.
And that's probably why their relationship isn't the same way that, Missy and Aaron, their relationship. It's like you see someone a certain way and then you write them out of your life.
Right.
And it's like, well, now that's over. And it's like if we saw Tiffany's mom, she's probably like feels terrible about it. The same way like we see with Alice and Mac, where Mac has this memory of her being a certain way and she obviously changed.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we do spend time at Mac's grave. Mac and KJ go there, and it's it's pretty sad. They don't put her birthday or her death date. It's just the year that she was born and the year she died, and she mentions that. And it turns out that it's her birthday.
July 5th.
July 5th is her birthday, and this explains why Alice shows up at this random fucking day in the middle of the day, while they're there. And this was when they see the car pull up and then they go hide, and they had brushed away like the leaves and grass and stuff that was over the tombs, the headstones. So when Alice shows up, it's cleared already.
Not all completely.
Well, but I mean, it's clear that somebody cleaned it.
Yeah.
Because I think from like, I'm just speaking from experience, like hearing stories of my mom with my grandmother's grave and stuff like that. It's like, I went to her grave to put flowers and it looks a mess and they're not taking care of it the way they're supposed to, that type of thing. I think she could tell.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody else
had
coming
been
to this
there.
grave.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But they leave and they end up running into her in her car as she's leaving, Alice. Right. And they make eye contact and she flips out and she tries following them in the car, and she eventually loses them.
Right.
And it was so weird to me that, I get what John was saying, that she sees her one way. But, she clearly looks completely different than what we saw her in the first episode, where she was all drugged out, passed out, and
it changed.
She clearly she looked like a different person. But, her brother told her, Dylan told her that Alice changed. So, this whole... The first few lines of this exchange was a little frustrating for me because she was like, "What is she even doing here?" And I'm like,
"But I guess it's
did
kind
you
of
even
like
hear
that."
What the fuck Dylan told you?
Yeah, but I think it's more visual. Like you still can't picture.
No, I get it. I get it.
It just... all you know is what you know. So yes, somebody could tell you something, but it's like, what I remember, what I've seen is this person. So I really like this. Like when they lose her, they're hiding behind the gravestone and Mac is just watching her. She's just bawling, and Mac's just watching her. You can see on Mac's face, you could tell Mac is. It really hit her hard.
You weren't a piece of shit after all. But yeah, this poor woman is gonna go start drinking again.
She's off that wagon.
Jesus Christ, Lee. I was like, come on. I get it, but also at that point, once they see you, you gotta say something. You can't just have this woman walking around.
Just be like, I'm a ghost.
I know. You tell her what the fuck you told Dylan. And Dylan's in med school at this point, so he's not home. He's not in town.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, I felt bad for Alice.
Yeah, because her dad's still a piece of shit. Alice probably isn't with her dad.
So Larry shows up at the apartment. The only one there is Erin and the boyfriend. And Erin agrees to talk to Larry outside. And she is so nasty to him. She's like, that's why you gonna die. You're gonna get vaporized. And I see it. And I love every second of it. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, Erin.
So what is he like turns instantly?
Yes.
He's like, I burned up instantly, Jesus. And then she's like, I'm sorry. She's like, calm down, Jesus Christ, man. Put yourself together.
I really do like how Erin is just kind of over all this shit.
She's like, I'm dead. Fuck it. Doesn't matter what I do now.
She sees his bike because he shows up because of the stuff that fell out from 1988 on his farm. One of those things being her bike.
Yeah.
And she goes back to the farm with him and he calls, what's the girl's name? Starts with J.
Is it Juniper? Like, I wasn't certain.
I think
thought that
it
was
is
her.
Juniper.
Yeah, I think it's Juniper.
And she's
That's her name. Juniper is her name.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was the.
Yes.
I was like, I think that's her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember.
Yeah, she's getting married.
Yeah,
She's
it's somebody
like,
else. Which is weird because when they first showed these two, I felt like they were in a relationship together.
You said
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and I totally don't.
Because of that picture, and that whole picture was like, that was supposed to be the thing that kept her in, like, her memory straight, was that picture. And I felt it was... And it felt like almost romantic to me.
So
It definitely felt romantic to me, for sure.
So this is how they met.
I don't know if it was.
Yeah, this is how they meet.
Yeah, this is how they meet. Yeah, this is the first time they've ever met. Just fucked up.
I'm sorry. I'm starting to not feel well. So Tiff and the two Tiffs are fighting. There's more fighting between them before they realize that Erin left. And she was like, the boyfriend comes in, he's like, oh, she left with this guy. She's like, God damn it, whatever the boyfriend's name is.
I think it was Russ.
She's like, God damn it, Russ. So, they end up all heading for the farm because KJ and Matt come back to the apartment, and as the Tiffs are leaving, they're like, oh, we were waiting for you, let's go. And also, I just want to say that I love adult Tiff's clothes. These 1999 clothes, because this is absolutely how I dressed.
Baggy clothes.
The jeans, this little top with the little spaghetti straps with
the mesh.
Yes.
Did you wear the mesh?
Yes. This is absolutely that the 1990s, like late 90s vibe. This was yes.
This is what made me grab you, huh?
No, I'm about to say something else.
This is the year that I met Nina too.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, even before that, like, I'm looking at like what she's wearing, and I'm like, yeah, I was absolutely walking around Maine with clothes dressed just like this in the late 90s, titties out, chokers.
Chokers. Did you really wear a choker?
Yeah, a choker. Yeah, I had a little leather jacket. I had boots. My jeans were baggy like that. And I stayed up in the club, honey. Stayed up in the club. Anyway, so they head to the farm, and that's where they meet up with Juniper and Larry, and they learn that this is a time rip, and there's more of 1988 coming through, including
2019 stuff. And she just says that 2019 stuff was coming through too.
Tiff stuff. Tiff's other walkie-talkie.
KJ's hockey stick, which was in 2019. The motorcycle from 2019. Duke hockey signs.
Yeah.
From 2019.
Was there a...
It's so weird because I have a vivid memory of Duke hockey signs growing. Like, I have that just by my house there was a big old billboard, and I just remember seeing the Duke hockey sign.
Was he from Michigan?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I just remember seeing Duke hockey signs all
I just
over the
remember
place.
his sister.
Out of all the elections, I don't know why, but that's the only election that I just remember.
Really? That's interesting. I think, though, for me, it was probably the first time Clinton ran, because that was the first time I could vote. And that was, I don't know if you remember, but like he was on Arsenio playing the saxophone, and MTV was like rock the vote.
Yeah.
Like they really, really were pushing to get that white Democrat elected.
But that was also the first
For
time.
all the black folks in the neighborhood was like, yeah, that's what we vote for. And he replaced the other Bush, right?
Yeah, the old Bush.
And before him was what, Reagan?
Yep.
HW.
Olympia Dukakis was Michael Dukakis' sister, right?
Oh.
The actress.
I don't know.
Oh my God. What is wrong with you? She was in Moonstruck. She died last year. Like that. Wow, 1931
I
to
know her. I
2021.
don't remember.
Oh, he's her cousin. That's it. I knew she was related. I mean, it's not a common last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
I think the first election I remember is the Clinton one from '96.
So the second one.
Yeah, I couldn't vote, obviously.
I know.
Because I was a felon.
This white woman in my face is getting schooled by other black women, and I love to see it. All I have to do is sit here and record this podcast, and she is being handled. Love to see it. Anyway, so yeah, that is the end of it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is, but wait. What does Juniper want to do?
Something. It's what scene is it right now? Something about going to a cathedral.
Because yes, they
Their
have to
headquarters.
leave. That's right. Because they find that little spider thing that is tracking them, and it ends with her shooting it before they're gonna go. That's right. So
They're running away.
And that's
That's
what I'm saying. There's like one episode left, and we really haven't touched anything on that stuff. It's like this. There's no way that, in my opinion, that this is only one season.
Right. Because so I agree. And again, because it's so different, like, I just feel like knowing who Grandfather is and first of all, they call them the Old Watch here, right? Mm-hmm. In the comic book, they're the old timers. And the younger ones, like the two guys that we met first in the beginning, like the ones who are going back in time, the younger ones, they just call them, like the old timers refer to them as our ungrateful descendants. And so, like, in the comic book, the mission is, time travel was invented, and we're like, fuck yeah, let's go back in time and, like, fix shit, Our ancestors had it rough. Like, let's do away with slavery, you know what I mean? But the people who were in power at the time that time travel came about was like, don't rock no boats. Leave everything alone, because it could fuck up their standing. You don't know what you could change, So their thing is like, why should we let people suffer if we could go back and do something better? And the old timers are just like, they've already suffered, Yeah,
so, what if they stop suffering and then that fucks up, like, we don't have time travel anymore?
Right. That's their argument. And the other thing is they justify doing things like the prehistoric, using those animals, like the dinosaurs and stuff, because they, like, ride in on the backs of, like, flying dinosaurs and stuff. Is that they were going to go extinct anyway. So if I'm speaking then as the old timers in the comic book, if we pluck them out of time before the meteor hits or whatever it is that did away with the dinosaurs, it doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
So
the free jack method.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like
he's gonna die right before he dies. Just pull him out.
But I feel like we covered something on the podcast. It was the same thing. It was like, as long as, if they were going to die anyway, we cover so much shit. I feel like this was a plot point before. So yeah, so they're like, we can just like take these creatures into the future with us and use them, and it doesn't matter because they've been extinct for like millions of years. So yeah,
and it's okay because it looks cool.
Exactly. Okay, so we got some feedback. Hold hold on, make sure I'm doing the right episodes. Yep, see, I was about to read the wrong shit. So these are both from Kimberly, and she said for episode 6, hello Nina, Donnie, and John. Before I get to the episode, I wanted to comment based on some of John's thoughts and what one of the girls said in episode 5 that fell along the thoughts I'd been having. I wonder if the girls are immune to the mind erase because when we first encountered them, they were already out of their time. How were they already out of their time? The girls.
In 2019?
I think that was in 1988. I think we threw that out. I threw that out as a possibility. I didn't have any explanation, and I don't think that Kimberly is suggesting.
Oh, okay. What if they are on some kind of loop where they're being sent back to their time, but someone input 0.1 instead of 0.01, and now you have 2 sets of girls? I'm just rambling at this point, so I'll just get into the episode. Yeah, you broke me.
That would be fucked up.
1999 Tiffany is the shit. She is practical about how she has to navigate the world as a black woman, like when she tried to explain the realities of what she encountered while at MIT to her younger self, but still manages to be the shit. What's the deal with 1999 Tiffany and her mom? There's clearly something she's not sharing with her younger self. Oh, okay, yeah, because this is for episode 6. Hell, young Tiffany is the shit. The casting, as was the case with 2019 Erin, is excellent. KJ exploring to get a feel of the person she will become, Mac lying to Erin about her future while sharing what she wishes her life would become, and then breaking down with KJ, younger, more nerdy, but seemingly less duplicitous Larry. Less duplicitous. For me, this is the best episode of the season thus far. Oh, interesting. Let's see what she says about episode 7. Oh yeah.
I think I agree with that.
Episode 6. Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I have to think about it more, but yeah, I think so.
What she says? Yeah, Vibrant Thing by Q-Tip, and It's Not Right, But It's Okay by Whitney. There was nobody present. Never mind. I can't believe I was about to say that. That's terrible. No, Nina. Bad Nina. 1999 Tiffany explains the real world to 1988 Tiffany and tells her some things she isn't prepared to hear. Then 1980, I love how she's just using the years. Then 1988 Tiffany giving it back to her in spades. Mac's stepmom gets the shock of her life when she sees her dead stepdaughter. Will this cause her to fall off the wagon? Probably.
Yeah, maybe like the wagon or like insanity.
Like, oh my god, what if they travel to like 5 years in the future and that woman's just like broken, and because she thought she saw Mac in the graveyard 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, that's what I mean. That's what I just feel like if she's seen you and like not just a glimpse, but like she's and you're running from her, you don't do that to people.
I feel like then she needs to go and approach her and talk to her.
Yeah, I mean, because
I think they've done a good job of like compartmentalizing the interactions between the years, right? Because like knowing that they're in 1999 now, let's say like they interact with 1999 Erin, then I would be like, why didn't 2019 Erin remember that in 1999? You know what I'm saying? So like, I think they've done a good job of avoiding situations like that.
No, I do not.
Does that make sense?
Nope. Say it again.
I think like there hasn't been a moment yet in any of the episodes, like in 1999, where I'm like, oh, they met someone in 1999 who should have remembered them in 2019.
Okay.
So like if they had met Dylan in 1999, then in 2019 he would have been like, oh, I saw you in 1999.
Right.
You know, like he would remember that.
Right.
But like they've done a good job of avoiding that, so they don't have to explain whether like how time travel is working and whether or not. Because I wonder if the Tiffany in 2019 remembers all this shit from 1999.
Well, she wouldn't remember it now because it hadn't happened. Does that make sense? Like,
I guess it depends. Like that's kind of what I mean.
I guess
they're not having to explain whether or not time is linear, or
right,
or how.
And
so like they don't have to do that.
In the comic books, they eventually do.
Into it.
Yes, in the comic books, they eventually do. And that was the whole. That's exactly how it's brought up. The whole like most people think time is linear and blah blah blah. That too.
Got it.
But what I was just saying was, yeah, you're right. We haven't seen that yet. But what I was saying was, I wonder if they went to like 2005 and not encountered her, but learned something about Alice that implied that seeing Mac in '99 affected her negatively.
Yeah.
Fucked
her up.
Yeah.
How could it not? It has.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I just feel like for me, I get she's a 12-year-old girl and it's written the way it's written, but that's just what broke my heart in that scene. Like I just felt like no matter what you felt about her and how you still have obviously like this one image of her. You know what's happening. You know what you just saw. You saw her bawling her eyes out, and then what she saw after that. Come on, like I just felt bad for her. But yeah, this is not from the comic book, so I don't even know if this is something that's going to be, if it's going to come up again. Finally, she says, the old watch is coming. Seeing Juniper get real with that probe made me start, everybody run, the homecoming queen's got a gun in my head. So, I'm super excited. The finale. I don't know what to expect because it's so different from the book again, and I don't know what they're going for. I don't know what the plan is with this series, so I'm super excited to watch it. Maybe we can watch it tonight. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what. I can't think of what the because I agree with y'all that I think or at least Donnie. I don't know, Nina, if you agree. I think you agreed with Donnie when he said that it has to be 2 seasons at least, but. Yeah, it feels like it has to keep going, and I don't know what the season finale end point is.
Right.
Like what is that that pin to put in it?
I feel like it's going to be them learning something, probably learning the truth about something we've questioned. Like all this stuff, we're like, what does this mean? I wonder what would happen if this happened. You think they're going to be forced to? They're going to volunteer to have their memory, like, you know what I mean? I feel like we're going to get an answer to a question, and it's probably not going to be an answer that either we or the characters like, and it's just going to be like, oh shit, like, okay, I don't know, maybe honestly I will fucking die if it ends with them in prehistoric era.
That would be awesome. Just like, see you next season.
See you next season. You have to ride a dinosaur, I guess.
As long as Chris Pratt don't show up, we're good.
Who?
Chris Pratt just showing up with his fucking dinosaurs. I'll tell you one question that I really want them to answer is, why in the fuck is Tiffany eating unfrosted blueberry Pop-Tarts?
I don't know. Like, that don't make no sense. Why would you ever do that?
Unfrosted?
I don't know why you would ever buy unfrosted Pop-Tarts.
I don't know why they make them.
Right? Just fucking eat a piece of bread with some jelly on it.
What was those? There was the strudels that they
toasted
had.
Strudels.
Those were
never.
For a while. It was the same thing. They were unfrosted Pop-Tarts, and you had to put your own frosting on them. I was like, what's the fucking point?
I mean, I liked those, but then they didn't give you enough because I would always use 2 packs of icing on one thing.
That's how you
and then I'd have one left that didn't have any icing. I was like, well, this sucks.
That's how they get you. So that's it. I'm actually not feeling really well, so I'm gonna stop it here. I'm gonna listen to my body. I'm starting to feel really, really bad. But we will be back in a couple of days. What do we have coming up? Sandman and Hot D tomorrow. I'm so excited. One more sleep till Hot D. And a lot of other great stuff coming up. Thank you for listening, and we will be next. Bleh. See, it's already starting. My speech is getting all slurred. I gotta go. We'll be back next week to talk about this season, possibly series finale of Paper Girl.